Okay, I wanted to make a new video covering the third seal opening, which is the black blue, what I'm calling Jacinth horse. And that starts with Revelation 6:5. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Revelation 6:6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." Well, I don't want to go into a lot of detail, but I'll definitely post the detail that I have here. In the comment sections of the YouTube video post or on my blog or wherever else I put it. But this is, I believe, the reign of Barack Obama. With one of the 4 Luciferian space alien fallen angels sitting on him. In other words, his physical vehicle, the human vehicle that we see as Barack Obama, was like many world leaders, country leaders, that are actually taken over by Luciferian space aliens. Doesn't make him necessarily evil any more than anybody else who is taken over by Luciferian space aliens, and most of the world has been taken over by the Luciferian space aliens because they rule the human kingdom. And that's part of the plan for the next level, to take advantage of that, so that when the truth comes and they plant seeds in a number of human vehicles, seeds that have been growing for even millennium, through even in the genetic strain, that people can recognize the difference between the next level and what the next level says and does and why, and the Luciferian space aliens and what they say and do and why. Recognize the difference. And by recognizing the difference, they can grow to refuse to be a part of the misinformation, the Luciferian space aliens. For instance, a good example is going along with war. That's not from the next level. They taught that you shouldn't kill. A human shouldn't kill another human. And Jesus taught that it would be better to turn the other cheek and lose your own life instead of fighting back and taking another life to defend your human life. Because the next level are looking for graduate souls. So if you've got a soul, which many may have and some may not, which I don't want to get into that because it doesn't make any difference to reality. It's just the reality is whether we grow towards the next level, wanting to please the next level or not. However we see that, it doesn't mean that we're bowing and scraping. That's the way it was distorted into pleasing the next level. Or joining a monastery, or some kind of spiritual order, or going to seminary and making a career out of religious or spiritual teachings. And, that's not next level mind, but like Tian said, there are many paths to the top of the mountain, but there's only one off, and that is through the representatives that are sent from the next level, which the most current were Tian. So to even be talking about Jesus all the time now, unless you don't know any better, because you haven't been exposed to the reality that the updates that Tian brought, that might be the best anybody can do. But the fact is that religions become the number one killer of souls because they trick people into thinking that that's all they have to do to make a graft with the older members from the level above human, the kingdom of God, the kingdom in the heavens. And the human kingdom is a stepping stone. It's not meant to become a place of satisfaction, a place where everything is going hunky-dory, and we can live for generations with our accumulated wealth and all that. That's why the next level keeps stirring the garden, or stirring the pot, so to speak. In other words, producing hurricanes and tsunamis and earthquakes and tornadoes, most of which are to help people wake up to who is really in control of the planet. That it's not just here for us to conquer and then dominate and then thrive on, although that was part of the plan to allow humans to do that, so that they would be faced with the choice when it came time to see the choice of fluffing that off, beginning to separate from those human mammalian root systems and the human mammalian family, to gravitate to a family of mind. And mind is synonymous with spirit. A family of mind is a family of common information, and that information is true information. It's real. It's the facts of everything, even though we don't see them necessarily as facts, because it's a stepwise process to see them as facts. As we get rid of the lower mind and we bring in the higher mind. Now, the Luciferian space aliens were provided by the next level because they would try to trick us into thinking that their mind was the higher mind and that they created everything, and all the human life forms and the planets and everything. If they had their way, or that they were the bad ones were the ones that were coming from deep space and sending asteroids to threaten the population on the Earth, when it's the actual next level that does that kind of thing, when they're trying to do shots across the bow of the ship America and the world. Um, and I say America first because it was the most recent location. It is the most recent location where the Next Level sent their crew, where they're the sixth closeness, as Tiendo spoke about in the document that they wrote that became published in the book UFO Missionaries Extraordinary. So back to Barack Obama. I mean, the evidence of this is how he inherited the biggest global-wide financial crisis in recorded history. I'm not going to go through all the lineage that I got some from David Icke, who I'm not necessarily, I'm not, a follower of his or anything. But I take everything that becomes available to me, when I'm doing my research for the book that I wrote, and I take it, and sometimes I post it as a possibility, as evidence of different things, and you can see in this writing that I've had on the wall there that there's some evidence that he found, I think, through mostly the English organization that keeps all the genetic records, the genealogy records, back to all the kings and everything. So that's where he got it from. So it's not like it's from a channeled source or anything like that, which would make it less dependable. But so I'm not going to go into all the bloodlines, although the Luciferian space aliens certainly have a hand in the current bloodlines that are the leaders of the countries and their constituents, all those that look to them as their kings and queens and believe in everything they talk about. And stand for, right or wrong. Those are the I just went there by, I didn't think I did anything to do that. Anyway, but Genesis 6 talks about how the fallen angels were the sons of God, which that just meant they were infants. In other words, in the next level, they hadn't grown to adulthood, and so they weren't actually members of the level above human. They were students in process, even though they were operating in spacecrafts, and they were provided with, I believe, physical bodies, and like Doe said, elementary tasks. And perhaps with more primitive spacecrafts, because Doe said that those were the kind of spacecrafts that the next level used to crash in the 1940s and 50s in order to provide evidence to the government and the people of physical beings from outer space that set a lot of what's going on today into motion, in fact everything into motion. I was just watching a set of videos from Sybil Edmonds, whistleblower, and I had been familiar with her from 2002 when there was, when she was testifying in relationship to what she had figured out, deciphered while she worked for the FBI regarding the prospect of the World Trade Centers being attacked by airplanes. that G.W. Bush denied was even a possibility to even consider before that, when it was talked about in the FBI before that. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that, but why did I bring her up? Oh, I lost that train of thought. So it probably wasn't important, or I'll come back to it later. But the actual Nephilium being or what Tiendo said was that the next level, the Luciferian space aliens want to influence humans to their agenda. What is their agenda? To get off the planet when they were released from the bottomless pit, which might be actually a pathway from the North Pole to the South Pole to Antarctica. That might go all the way through, even though it might be covered with ice most of the time, or all the time, or ice and land part of the time. But it would go all the way through, so that would make it bottomless. That's kind of the way I was thinking about it. I don't know, that's not necessarily from Tiendo. I can't remember them talking about that in particular. But, so take it with a grain of salt. But, and there is some evidence, more evidence of that, but I'm not going to go into all that. But the Luciferians actually gravitate towards the people that have the most influence, humans that have the most influence over other humans. For that agenda of getting off the planet, and also for the agenda of getting more members, because and generating physical bodies for their members to occupy when their existing physical bodies die. And that's why the space aliens can be shown to have had a extensive hybridization program, where they're picking up humans and taking them onto their craft, and taking sperm from them, or having them have sex with another being on the spacecraft, or taking the eggs and using the eggs to fertilize them, and then abducting that person again, that woman, for instance, again, and showing them how the child that they gave birth to with one of their eggs, that they were growing. And just like any family, which is the family of what we're calling the space aliens, I mean, they're humanoids, they're human equivalents. They're not really much different than humans, except they have technology. They got two things that are above human. Technology, which they either got from the next level when they rebelled against the next level, or from the human civilization before this one, or from a human equivalent civilization on another planet, that they were allowed to bring that hardware with them when the next level chose to gather them to this area, which they could have done with like a wormhole, or a bending time and space, as Bob Lazar talked about, and other people are talking about, Tesla and Einstein, and even exceed the speed of light, which is increasingly more explanations of how that's possible. And I believe that's, well, I'm not going to go there, but so, and of course, as they influence the humans, they can't just tell the humans, oh, well, we're space aliens, we're trying to get the heck out of here. So they have the humans thinking that, you know, they can find certain elements in space, like the element that Bob Lazar documented that was in one of the engines of one or more of the spacecrafts that were confiscated from the number of the crashes. By the way, some of the crashes were, Doe said, were provided by the Luciferian space alien as a copycat. After the next level sent their crew to come by losing their physical bodies in order to join the overcoming program by picking up taking the prepared human vehicle that the next level had prepared for them, and that they assisted with the preparation of, according to T and Doe, and that in order to overcome the remaining characteristics of humanness that they needed to overcome in order to qualify to be on T's crew, on T and Doe's crew. If they didn't overcome all these human characteristics, then I think T and Doe joked, but seriously joked, that if they were up in the next level and they were in a lab and they were having thoughts, that would be seen like static in the next level, because their thoughts would be, criticism what the next level was doing, maybe judging the way they looked, and if they still had human programming of sexuality, then they might have thoughts go through their mind, of attraction to this one or that one, or you're looking for things that would make the members of the next level working in that lab, the technicians, want to run out the back door to that lab, because it was such an interference, because the next level don't generally communicate, especially the older members. I mean, the infant vehicles may still have a capacity, T and Doe said, to communicate with language and with their mouth and vocal cords. But the next levels, that members that are adults, whether young adults or old adults, they communicate with their minds. So if you can't control your thoughts, then you're an interference to them, because they can see your thoughts, they can hear your thoughts, and they don't want that interference. They like clean communication, and that's why I'm not going to relate that right now, because I don't think it's applicable. I was going to talk about Jesus, where he said, "Let your communication be yes or no." Well, I believe that actually means yay or nay, for or against the next level. It wasn't, I don't think, even though there's a great value to being not being verbose, and I know I'm accused of being verbose, but I'm not sure that in this circumstance, even though I would like to not be more as verbose as I am, it's the best I can do, I think, at this point. Not that I don't try to do better. I have tried to do better throughout my book and in these talks as well. But it still is going to be verbose to somebody. Because if there's anything that I'm learning right now, is that when you come in this direction, you will have opponents from every camp. Now, not counting all the ones that just ignore it all, and which is fine. That's good. That's not good, but it's the way they are, and it's not necessarily inappropriate for them because of, I don't know what grade in school they are in, but Tiendo talked about how there were 12 grades in school, and then the first 6 grades were becoming the best human you could become, and then the last 6 grades, the next level helps you remove all those connections or that you have with the human kingdom. By taking away things that you grew to have. But if when the next level tries to stir the pot or tries to do something to shake up our world a little bit, and we just say, like Tiendo would talk about how a hurricane would come and hit the Gulf Coast, and then the people, would have everything demolished, and then they would come back there and say, oh, we're going to build again because this is where we are from, and this is where we will remain, and this is where our heritage is. That's glued to the human kingdom. Next level wants you to move on, wants you to go someplace where there's not those hurricanes, so that you can start over again and get more growth from that change. Because otherwise it becomes a stagnation in the human kingdom. So let me get back to this verse anyway, since I probably left a lot of loose ends, but that's the way it goes with this. The prophecy talks about how one sitting on this black blue horse has the task to use their horse to manage a pair of balances, which is related to holding the yoke of 2 oxen, beasts. I'm suggesting that it's beast, even though the word, there was no talk of oxen in the verse. It was just just saying holding the yoke, the balances. That's what balances actually meant when you played out all its references. The pair of balances was related to holding the yoke of 2 oxen, like those bar beams that are between the 2 oxen on pulling the cart is the image I had. That's the example I found. Anyway, so I believe I'm calling them beasts because the oxen are obviously beasts, and even Daniel refers to the beasts, and you can look at those as the Republicans and the Democrats, or you can look at those as the beast that is the secret government that comes out of the bottomless pit, not comes from the bottomless pit, but comes because of the bottomless pit, because of the space aliens that come out of the bottomless pit. In other words, so when the space aliens were released and the next level started that happening, simultaneously or before and or after that pit was opened, however that was done, by maybe melting an ice cap or starting a volcano, or that allowed a pathway to get out of a certain underground facility that the Luciferians were hiding in with their spacecrafts, or under the sea, wherever that might have taken place. Maybe Mount Shasta was part of that. I have some reasons to believe that because of what T and No experienced when they went to Mount Shasta, which I think you can see in the 88 update that Doe wrote. Anyway, but the beast was basically the start of the CIA, the secret government, and that's the secret Babylon, the mystery Babylon it was called, but the word for mystery is also secret in Revelation chapter 17, that talks about the United States. Anyway, so that's the main beast. the biggest beast, and then there's a little beast that comes out of, or comes in support of the big beast, and I believe that's the EU. And together they actually form the New World Order. Like I guess Sybil Edmonds was saying that that you follow the money trail when all these wars. Follow the money trail, okay? So you follow the money trail. What do you see? That what happens, like in the rebuilding of Iraq, is that the IMF and the World Bank come in there and they basically take over with loans and whatever else, and the military, of course, and the oil production was part of that, and then the military to protect the oil production is all related to that. What Sybil didn't talk about, but may have some perspective of, and other people don't talk about, is why the huge push for money that took place starting in the 1990s, in particular with the document Rebuilding America's Defenses, that has a bunch of signatories on that. I watched the video last night with Sybil Edmonds on. She put on the video showing all the signatories on that, and Wolfowitz and a number of individuals, Cheney, I believe, and Rumsfeld, I believe. Anyway, and a huge spike in the military-industrial complex's profits, and that went hand in hand with the oil profits, and so what I'm saying they did with that money is they funneled it into all the black budget programs that they couldn't get passed through Congress, so they didn't want to go through that, trying to formulate some kind of program to hide the money where it's really going, because where it's going is to the space program and to all the development behind that and to the underground base construction and all that goes with that, many things that go with that, and all the weapon systems and everything that goes with that, and because they want to be able to shoot down asteroids. That's what the Star Wars program was. It might have been also to fight against the space aliens, and I'm not saying that that's not also part of the program. I think it is, because that's the war in the heavens that's taking place. Even though the space aliens are two-faced, they've got two sides to them, and they're not also all necessarily of the same mind, and they're even in competition with each other. T and Doe said, or maybe just Doe said it, because T was outside her vehicle when most of our talk about the space aliens was taking place. But I know how close Doe was to T, so if I say T and Doe, I'm confident that they're of one mind. So that's where the money goes. Not all of it. Some of it goes to enriching everybody, and certain people don't really know any more than that. And but that's what the financial crisis was also. It was a way of funneling money that couldn't be traced. And the 9/11 thing even took that into consideration with all the insider trading and the disappearance of the trillions of dollars from the general fund that Rumsfeld was just talking about, I think, on 9/10, is the way it's been reported. Anyway, so this money is not just going to just Joe Schmo and Sally, Henry, Sally, whatever her name is. It's being funneled into these projects, even if it's like telling the richest people that if you want to have some kind of security in a base, then some kind of like shelter to run to with your family and your constituents, or the people that are in your clan, then you got to pay it. It's gonna take millions and millions and millions of dollars, maybe even billions of dollars, uh, to build these facilities that are state of the art, where families can survive. And there you go, to where you see that the Luciferian space aliens are going to be shut up again. But how many of these underground bases end up surviving, I think will be very few. I suspect the United States, the West, the United States, I don't think any will survive it. I may be wrong about that. Because that's where I think the lake of fire is. I just saw a report that said that there was molten lava, like 1,000 feet, maybe I got that number wrong, under the surface of the earth, 1,000 miles underneath the surface of the earth, that was as big as the whole western United States. I don't know, what the line was, but it's very interesting that I heard that report while I was trying to figure out what the lake of fire really was. I thought it was lava, but and there's more about that I can talk about, but some of it's in my book. And if you ask me questions, I'll try to do so. I'll try to, express more of it, or point you to where in the book it is, because I'm providing the book for free on my blog, and so nobody doesn't have access to it, and it's also available for purchase. Just search on Heaven's Gate on Google, and if you want to put Sawyer in there, Heaven's Gate Sawyer, then you'll be sure to come up with links to where the book is being sold, and in ebook formats, several ebook formats, and through Amazon and Barnes & Noble and other places that have picked it up. And and I do have a website now that is named the same as the title of my book, because my domain name is T&Do, and is with A-N-D, so it's T-A-N-D, Do, the Father and Jesus, Heaven's Gate, UFO, Two Witnesses, .com. And I have a blog there also that I'm starting, but I'm going to try to just keep focused on book, where my other blog, I'll go into any subject whatsoever. It may end up being the same kind of thing. So maybe I'm going to close this now, even though I haven't gotten very far with this verse. I'm expecting someone to come over, and so I guess I've said enough for now. I'll continue this in another video. Thank you.